Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Ryan Thomas and I'm going to be the host for this TLC session. Thank you all for joining us for developing a program PLC with online associate faculty. Please join me in welcoming our presenters, Kelly Olson-Stewart and Alan Belcher.
Thanks, Ryan. Alan and I are in sort of sunny New Orleans. So Alan is busy with his additional presentations today, and I was able to hear he and Allie's presentation, and it really ties perfectly with the research that we're going to share around our study. I think that all of us who are thinking about our associate faculty are still trying to figure out how we best engage and motivate them. And in looking at our first slide here, one of these things is not like the other, right? So there might be a particularly interesting footwear choice at the beach. And so what I want you to be mindful of as we sort of dive in here is just be thinking we're aware of how different everyone's programs and groups of folks are. And hopefully you'll be able to take some nuggets today from our research that will be impactful in your world. And I'm going to stop my video here.
We know that in the College of Education, we have approximately 300 associate faculty. We have a little over 80 of those are aligned with the Masters of Arts in Education, the MAID program. And our experience over the last few years has been that we are losing about 1/4 of those faculty each year for a number of reasons. Some of them choose not to come back and stay with us. We have lost a few because of performance issues, but it takes a lot of time to get someone up to speed, as I'm sure everyone can recognize. One of the things, though, that concerns us about losing faculty is that we're also losing students. And I think that's an issue across the university, is to retain students and make them successful and help them to graduate. One of the things that we imagined is that there is a lack of consistency from, between instructors, and that up and down experience of the student may lead to losing some of them. So we wanted to be sure that we were getting people on the same page, finding out what do our associate faculty need, how can we better provide support to them, and all sorts of things around those issues.
So a previous study, let me go back here. A previous study in 2018, we were really focusing on the entire College of Ed associate faculty and got a great response, over 70% response rate on a survey. And really what it boiled down to, so the nuggets that you might be able to consider as you're thinking about your associate faculty in how to support them, was they wanted ongoing professional development, and that can look a lot of different ways, but they wanted to be fed professionally. They wanted communication, and we're still all trying to find that Goldilocks spot, right, of what is just the right amount of communication and to not overwhelm our associate faculty with too many emails, but enough. They want to be connected with other people who teach what they teach and who teach in their program. Additionally, they want to be connected with full-time faculty, and they want to know who their person is, who is their support network, who do they reach out to when they don't know what to do. They want clarity around those associate faculty expectations, whether that's in regards to their IQR, performance, mentoring, 12-hour-a-week expectations. They want examples of what it looks like from an associate faculty versus a full-time faculty. And overall, the bottom line that kept coming up from that study was around just that TLC, that they just want to feel like that they're being cared for and that they're valued. Of course, we looked at the literature, and just a few of the highlights here around the literature that we found that we used for this study as well was associate faculty want to feel that they are honored, that they are bringing expertise to the table, and that we are maximizing or multiplying their strengths. We know that faculty who don't have a sense of connection to the institution, to the program, to your program learning outcomes, may actually start pulling away from students, may have poor communication, which ultimately impacts our student retention. And we know that associate faculty, or all faculty really, who feel support are more willing to be happy faculty and stay. And we also know how important our faculty are, that they are our connection to our students. And so cultivating that sense of community in an online world is challenging, but doable. And so we're looking for those strategies that will help us to do that.
So all of that led us to identify, and full-time faculty thought would be an appropriate way to create an online community. We wanted to know also to what extent do our efforts so far generate that community feeling. We were convinced after reviewing previous research that having a feeling of community, belongingness, of fit, helped all faculty to feel better about their work environment. And so we thought that was an important question for us to ask and try to find an answer for. We also asked then our faculty, what specific things could we be doing to build that online professional learning community? We collected data, we surveyed our associate faculty to get their perceptions on all of these things. We'll show you some of those questions here in just a moment. We also had quantitative data on faculty performance. We had IQR scores. We had the FSDA scores of engagement. We had the end of course surveys from students. We had course completion data. So we looked at all of that. We gathered all of that. We ended up not using a lot of that quantitative data because what we got out of the qualitative responses from our faculty was so valuable to us, it seemed to be, that we really focused on that. But we did gather all this data as something that we may yet use as we continue to try to define how we can best provide support to our faculty. Now, these are the questions that we asked folks, and we wanted to know, for instance, if they got the email that comes from a full-time faculty member each time they start a course. And we believe that we send that out every time to every faculty member that starts, in the same way that we all receive an email from our FSDA when we start a new course. So we wanted to make sure, follow up with that question as well. As part of trying to find out how these people felt like they fit within the program, we asked them the courses that they taught. Did they know who the lead faculty for that course was? Did they know who the program chair is, the associate dean? And those kinds of questions. Again, that feeling of belongingness is important based on previous research, that's important to faculty to have that feeling. We also wanted to know if the associate faculty felt that their ideas were considered. When we're thinking about redesigning a class or some changes need to be made, do we pay attention to that? And then generally, we wanted to know about, can we, should we, and how can we create a professional learning community for our online faculty? So the last several questions attempt to address those. And then here's some of what we found out. Now, we only had a 30% response rate this year, which was kind of, we're not sure why it was so low, but that's what we've got. But out of that number of folks who responded to us, nearly all of them report that they do receive that welcome email from their FSDA person. So that's great. But only 70% believe that they received an email from their course lead. Now that, again, that surprises us because we think we do it 100% of the time. So maybe they're getting too much email, maybe they ignore it, maybe they're getting this email and they don't realize that that person is called a course lead. There's all kinds of possible things to consider about that. Now these next pair of questions, though, we thought were really important to us. Half of our respondents said that having an online professional learning community was important, yet only 25% of our respondents thought that we were doing any kind of a good job at that. So that made us think, okay, we need to think about better ways, different ways to incorporate our associate faculty into a learning community. We also found out that just over half of our respondents knew who the program chair was. A third of them knew who the associate dean for that program was. All of that to say that they didn't understand where their courses fit within the entirety of the program or how they fit within the program. And somewhat depressing, over half of our folks reported that they believed their ideas were not valued, not used, as we're thinking about what we need to be doing in our courses.
So again, we were looking for ideas from the research as far as what can we do to be responsive then to the suggestions, the feeling of disconnect. Some of the challenges is that MAID faculty or associate faculty also teach in other programs, and so may have been receiving, dual channels of information. So simply providing an org chart, we sent out an org chart that has pictures of people. Since we use Zoom so frequently, we really wanted to put names and faces together. Additionally, providing them the course sequence. Many of our associate faculty teach one course within the sequence of MAID's program, or they teach a specialization course and really have no sense of where that course fits in the picture of a student's experience or journey. And so providing them the course sequence so that they could see the layout of what it looks like from a student perspective was really helpful. Additionally, in trying to meet the need of making connections with full-time faculty and connections with each other, we developed a database of research interests. Looks like I double copied that there, so we'll take a look at that. But the idea really is for associate faculty to be able to connect with each other. They can explore, let me take a look at this, they can explore the areas that they are experts in, their previous work experience, areas of research that they're interested in. And this is really helpful because we saw like so much wealth of knowledge and experience within our group. And then it's a great way for us to think about how can we better leverage that information and insight. Go back here. And one other thing that was really important to us was where in the world are you, right? So because we're remote faculty and everyone is looking for making connections, very simply, this is a Google map. We dropped their location and their name in. And so if we go into Phoenix here, so there, I could put my picture in, I can make notes, I could put my cell phone number if I wanted. I found out that another associate faculty literally lived in the next town. And so we were able to meet for coffee. I think another associate faculty, Yvette, who also teaches in Mackey, is across town as well. And so, if an associate faculty member happens to be, let's see, we're in New Orleans, we're traveling for a conference, you can see who else might be within the city that you're in or your hometown. And so simply listing everyone on the map and dropping in their locations is another great way for us to share who we are, where we are, and make connections that way. Additionally, one of the emphasis in MAID has been to get the graduate readiness modules embedded into courses. And so we're always on the purposeful effort or attempts to make sure that we are feeding our associate faculty with information. They didn't know what the graduate readiness modules are. They didn't know why that was important for a first course. And so being able to share the videos and the actual modules. There's a great infographic we were able to share with associate faculty. And then this is, you know, many of you have seen this, so I appreciate, oops, let me go back for a second. These are simply the made updates. They're just the cheesy YouTube videos of Kelly sitting in her office, oftentimes with her dog obnoxiously bothering her in the background, right? But just giving that personalized message about what is important in the program, what as full-time faculty are we working on. In this case, we were talking about the importance of our students and writing. And so oftentimes associate faculty feel uncertain about providing feedback around writing versus content and what's important to Kelly versus Jackie versus Alan. So providing those video updates, also permissions the associate faculty to use video, encourages them to use video and see that things go wrong, the dog barks, the doorbell rings, you know, that kind of thing, and just personalizes the information and who we are as a program as well, which is important. So in creating an infographic just around the big ideas here from this particular study, the database piece is important, the clarity of the who's who, the people, the updates, so those program updates, regular communication, helping them navigate college communication versus program communication, a question and answer hub. So one of the things that is just about ready to launch is the Canvas made faculty lounge page. Many of you are also working on something similar. The idea of a one-stop shop for our associate faculty to be able to go to. They can see the layout of the course sequence. They can jump in to look at another course and see the resources, examples of announcements, examples of great references, great ways to get your students engaged, but just have everything, well, you're already in Canvas. It's not another site for them to remember to go to. And then we can use that additionally as a place for discussions, sharing of ideas. And then ultimately it comes back to that TLC, that our associate faculty are looking for care, connection, and collegiality. They want those connections. They want to know you, they want to know each other, and feel like that they're supported.
And so one of the things then that we came back to was that we learned a good bit out of this particular research project and reviewing previous research as well. But we still have questions, and you all may have some answers or ideas either to help us better understand where we are and what we need to do next, or even to suggest next steps in research, either for us or for the next person in line. But we are always interested in what we can do and how we can continue to enhance a virtual professional learning community. What other ways, beyond that, what other ways might we think about that we should try to communicate, make connection with our remote faculty? And how, you know, where is the level of communication that is that sweet spot? It's just enough, it's timely, it's not too much, it doesn't overload them. I don't know about you, but my inboxes has a lot of email in there that I frankly just delete without reading it. You know, obviously we don't want that to be the case when it's something valuable or we think it's valuable for our folks. So where do we find that level? And then are there any other research ideas that we ought to be thinking about? And with that, we would certainly like to open to your questions and comments and suggestions for us. Feel free to put something in the chat or come online and tell us what you're thinking. Quiet group today.
Hey guys, I was wondering if you have had much response or knowledge about other associate faculty reaching out to each other once you did the Google Map and other things like that? If you've heard anything.
We have heard of a couple people who have made local connections, like coffee connections, which are great. Additionally, there have been actually Kathleen, I don't know that she's on, but Kathleen Pierce-Friedman and Tony Goss, associate faculty, connected to do some writing together. And multiple people have found areas of research that they have commented on that are similar. And so ideally they'll be reaching out because they now have access to that database.
And Kelly, I think the map that you showed us was only the people who responded to our survey. So we still have yet to put the rest of the associate faculty to locate them on the map.
Interestingly, well, I'm sorry, Alan, I was going to say, interestingly, once I sent the Made Fall update and shared the map, people who had not responded to the survey, did not have their location on the map, suddenly got really interested. And I think it showed the type of connection that we were trying to make. And so people have actually emailed me and we've added then to the map. So it's larger than the survey respondents, which is good.
Lynette put in the chat that it would be nice to have a regular associate faculty exchange of ideas in some Ashford venue. And Lynette, I will tell you that in the College of Education, we started a Canvas course that we called COE 101. Debbie Carpenter and Julie Atkins, two of our full-time folks, put that together with the help of a lot of other folks as well. And it is a place where each week we spotlight one of the 5 criteria from the IQR rubric. And so we've got folks talking one week about instructive feedback, the next week it's about establishing relationships, and on and on and on. And so we've seen a good bit of traffic there, people that just want to share ideas or find out from others about this, that, or the other. Anyone else have comments or questions for us? Again, we are very serious about having your input on next steps, on what we can do next or should think about researching next. And we'd be happy to hear from you as we go along.
And I have all the references here if anybody is interested or wants to take this study to the next level within your own programs or departments.
Well, awesome presentation, Alan and Kelly. I'm seeing lots of positive comments coming in the chat. Thank you everyone in attendance for joining this session. There's lots more TLC to come. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.